It's now 9:20, not 4:20 here at Beard. Hey there, beer tubers. Welcome back to Beer Analysis 101 with your host, Maxwell Starr. Tonight's beer we're going to do is a bit of a change from, what we said we were going to do last week, which, that never happens on this show. Somebody on this panel couldn't get West Mall in it. He's the only guy that always shows up. So we decided to do another one we could always all get.
Whoa. I've got a West Mall. I'm trying to get one for Carrie. Let's just clarify here.
Oh, then that's different. All right. Anyway.
We're doing West Mall tonight.
Okay. No, tonight we're going to do Duvel, Belgian Golden Ale, 8.5% ABV. But first, we're going to get started with the panel that we have with us tonight, starting with Redbeard. How you doing tonight, Redbeard?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Maxwell. I'm very excited to try this Belgian Golden Ale. I'm a big, huge fan of Belgian beers.
Oh, we know. We definitely know. All right, speaking of people we're huge fans of, Mr. Sexton, how you doing tonight?
Wow, really buttering that. That's great. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, I guess. I feel very welcome. And, I like Belgian beers.
There you go. And somebody else who we're, I guess fans of, maybe-ish. Greg.
The problem with buttering Sexton up is he's in a place so cold that it's impossible for the butter to melt.
All right.
Otherwise, hi, I've got a West Mall. Don't worry, Nick. I'm all set. We're going to get Redbeard.
Right.
I might go drive 15 minutes tomorrow to get him the beer because no place can have it.
Okay, well, if you can get him the beer, then that'd be great.
That's how dedicated I am to this.
You might actually drive out of the city.
No, I'm still within the city, just 15 minutes.
All right. Anyway, speaking of somebody who is definitely outside the city, Craig, nice to have you on tonight. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, good. Not bad. Had a bit of a sleep before I came on, so I'm just like, let's wake up and have a Belgian.
Yeah.
Good plan.
Yeah. Cheers for having me.
No problem. Thanks for coming on. And also, all right, and also somebody else who couldn't make it tonight but decided to give us his virtual presence, the king of beer tube himself, Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee?
Oh, my goodness. He's there in virtual form.
Virtual Lee.
Thanks, Nick. Doing great, man. Wish I could be there in person, but, I'm in demand, highly in demand. When you're, the former king of beer tube and you're just a internet rock star, really, an influencer like myself, sometimes you just have to make some choices, and I choose not to be here tonight in person, but I am there with you guys in spirit and to encourage you all to go on and do this BA 101 like only you B-level performers can. The A guy will always be there, so some of you have to step up.
Right. Anyway, sad part is we can't actually talk back at him and say to tell him to F off, but we'll just have to save that all that for Greg. Anyway, so let's get down to the history on Duvel. We have no comments yet, so there's no point in reading them. So the story of Duvel. Nope. The story of Duvel begins with Jan Leonard Mortgat, or Jan Leonard, or Jan Leonard, I don't know how you pronounce it, the son of a brewer's family from Steenhuffel in the Flemish Brabant province of Belgium, located halfway between Brussels and Antwerp. In 1871, he founded Brouwery Mortgat in his farm with his wife, Maria de Block, in nearby Breendonk, which is 14 kilometers from Steenhuffel. They have weird names over there. At the time, Mortgat was one of 4,000 breweries in Belgium and faced high competition by focusing on high fermentation beers, and passion for quality craftsmanship carved out a loyal client base as far away as Brussels. By 1900, Jan Leonard's two sons, Albert and Victor, had joined the brewery, with Albert coming on as head brewer and Victor handling deliveries. Following the end of the Great War, the Belgian public were introduced to English ales by the liberating British troops, and the popularity of British styles began to rise. Albert decided to jump on the English ale bandwagon and began to develop a beer based on English styles. Albert traveled to Scotland, where at first he faced resistance from local brewers, but during his travels he acquired a bottle of McEwen's Scotch Ale. At the time was bottle conditioned, from which he planned to isolate the yeast strain for use in the new beer. Mortgat called upon Belgian scientist Jean de Clercq for assistance in isolating the yeast strain that would impart the distinct fruitiness in McEwen's that they wished to impart into their beer. Together, they were able to isolate this strain, a descendant of which is still used today. The final beer was a dark ale, which they named Victory Ale, in celebration of the end of the war. As the story goes, during a tasting event for local noble people, a shoemaker named Van de Wouwer was impressed by the beer that he remarked that the beer was Ein echt Duvel, Dutch for a real devil. A real devil. Mortgat began to market the beer as Duvel from 1923 onwards. Following the end of the Second World War, control of Mortgat passed to the third generation, Bert and Marcel Mortgat, as well as brothers Leon and Emile Mortgat, who began to develop the brewery both technically and commercially. During the 1950s and 60s, lighter beers such as Pilsners began to rise in popularity, and breweries had begun adding lighter beers to their lineups to capitalize on the trend. Mortgat decided to go a different route, once again with the assistance of Jean de Clercq, who at that point was also working with Chimay, I believe. I have to look into that. Developed a strong ale similar to their flagship beer, but with a pale golden color. Launched in 1970, this golden version of Duvel, this one, would become the first Belgian golden strong ale, and would eventually replace the dark version of Duvel entirely. Also in the late 1960s, the Mortgats were convinced that to make their beer stand out, they needed a unique glass. A new style of glass was developed with a large bowl big enough to hold an entire 33 centiliters bottle with plenty of room for head and a flared lip to allow for aromas to boost the effect of its fruity herbal aroma. I didn't proofread this enough. As a result, this flower-shaped glass became the first tulip. The introduction of Duvel's custom tulip glass also became copied, and today a large number of Belgian breweries have custom glassware to be used with their beer. In the early 1970s, the brewery was struggling financially. The Mortgats acquired rights to the bottle and distribute the Danish lager Tuborg. This agreement ended in the early 1980s, but it did save the brewery and opened up a path to international expansion. In 1997, the brewing conglomerate was one of the original investors in starting the brewery Ommegang, the first Belgian-style brewery in the U.S. After other breweries that helped start Ommegang were absorbed by larger brewing conglomerates, the remaining share of the brewery is acquired by Duvel Mortgat in 2003. In recent years, Duvel Mortgat has expanded to and acquired several breweries, such as in September 2006, they acquired Brasserie de Chouf, the Le Chouf beers, the gnome on the front. June 2008, they bought Leafmans, makers of lambics and creeks and those tasty beers. August 2010, they purchased Deconic, famous Deconic Pale Ale. January 2014, they bought the American brewery Boulevard. And in July 2015, they bought Firestone Walker. So today, Duvel Mortgat is still a family-run company based out of Breendonk, with CEO Michel Mortgat of the fourth generation of Mortgats at the helm, and its beer can be enjoyed in over 60 countries worldwide. So other beers from Duvel Mortgat include Duvel's Red Label, which is what we've got, Duvel's Green Label, which is a filtered version of this beer, Duvel Triple Hop, which they've released year after year with a different hop, like Mosaic or Simcoe or other ones. Duvel Single, which is 6.8% single fermented version, so it's not secondary fermented in the bottle. Duvel Barrel Aged on Kentucky bourbon barrels, which sounds awesome. They have the Vedette line of beers, starting with Vedette Pilsner. There's also a wit beer and an IPA. Meredith Sue's Abbey Ales, which I've had one of them before. I think the triple, Meredith Sue Triple. Of course, they own the Chouf and Deconic and Leafmans, as well as Ommegang, Firestone Walker, and Boulevard. Getting down into this beer, though, Duvel is an 8.5%, 33 IBU Belgian strong golden ale brewed with pale malt from France and Belgium, Saaz and Styrian hops, and Duvel Marquette's famous house yeast, which is descended from the yeast derived from McEwen's Scotch ale. Duvel brewing process takes about 90 days. The beer first ferments in tanks at 20 degrees to 26 degrees before being chilled to -2 to prepare the beer for bottling. Once bottled, additional sugar and yeast is added, and it's aged for an additional 2 weeks in Duvel's 24-degree cellar to allow a second fermentation in the bottle to occur. After this, it is moved to a cold cellar where it is allowed to mature and stabilize for an additional 6 weeks. And then it's released to the public, whatever.
Mm.
Oh boy. Hey, we got 5 viewers now, and they're all watching me make an ass of myself online. Yay. All right,
We
so
love
speaking of
doing
making an ass of ourselves, let's go over to beer histories starting with Redbeard. What's your history with this beer?
I have no history. I'm still waiting for the mild mountain of head to disappear before I get into it here. It's a slightly carbonated beer, but doesn't smell terrible, so that's a good start, I guess. Yeah, but anyone who doesn't know me, but not usually a big fan of Belgian beers, so this is going to be potentially terrible for my taste buds. I apologize.
Nice. All right. Yay. Ashley, what is your history with Duvel?
I'm pretty sure I have a history with this. It was just one of those beers I know I've had before. I don't have any overall recollection of when and where and this stuff. And I've been getting really lazy on putting my stuff in Untapped. And fuck, yeah, I have no record of this. I know I've had it, though. And I actually, the entire month of December, I was drinking Belgian beers. And there were a few Belgian strong ales and golden ales that were in there. So I think it's a good night for me to do it. The review, that is.
Nice.
Of this beer.
Sounds good. And over to Craig.
I literally have zero history with this beer because I have never had it before, and I can't even drink this one because I'm almost poured the bottle and the head is going strong. I'm starting to get to the dredges. You can kind of see. I don't know how well the camera picks it up, but I'm really getting the semen-y ness coming through there.
According to Duvel, you're not supposed to pour the dregs in.
Well, I'm pouring the dregs in. If they're in the bottle, I pour them in because that's.
I probably should have mentioned that there's actually a whole pouring method behind this beer that you need to execute properly, which Greg didn't. That like you leave like the last little centimeter of beer in the bottle so that you don't pour the yeast in.
It's already a tiny bottle of beer. Like, come on, I'm getting my money's worth of that shit.
How very un-Belgian of you.
Hey, listen, you know what? If I'm with a lady, don't tell me what holes I can use and how to use them, okay? I want the whole thing. I want it all. I want everything in the bottle.
And let's move over to Craig. What's your history with that beer?
I did about 5 minutes ago.
Oh, he's got the glass too. Look at him go.
Nice.
Probably first tried this in the late 90s. When I was getting into Belgian beers, early 2000s sort of time. Been to Belgium a few times back then, and it's just a standard. It's everywhere. And then we had a Belgian bar open up in my hometown. They've got a range of about 250 different Belgian beers. So yeah, I've been drinking it on and off probably since the early 2000s more regularly. Since 2000 when was it? 2014. When Untapped started. I've not had it a whole lot. Probably about 4 or 5 times, something like that. But it's readily available here. I mean, you saw earlier, I picked it up, just went up the road and got it and just come back. But yeah, it's a classic.
Right on. Ah, crap. Okay, so let's go over to the Robo history for Lee.
Yeah, just leave Craig there.
Shut up, Redbeard.
Jesus, Nick.
My history with it.
Thanks, Craig.
I started drinking this, started showing up in the NSLC few years before I started doing beer reviews in 2008. It was in the NSLC for, I can't remember if it was a few years or if it was just like a year and a half or something like that. But there was this period where our international section was our craft beer section, basically, because there was really no craft breweries around here for Propeller and Garrison that had anything on the shelves. Yeah, we were getting all these interesting like Belgian beers and stuff like that. So Duvel, Chimay, some other ones were here and there were showing up, but this was kind of the big one. This and Chimay, and I started trying it. It was like 8.5% immediately. You know, back in the day when you're a little younger and you're like, "Whoa, yeah, we got to try this shit out." Tried it out, fell in love with it. I've always liked this beer. It's always been sort of consistently good every time I've had it. And yeah, it disappeared from the NSLC for a little while. I got sent one in a beer mail from a dude that I used to get beer mails from, trade with. And I did my review 9 years ago, so 2001 or whatever. And occasionally, once in a while, I get one. Sometimes you pity me, Nick, and send me one because you tend to get access to these things more than I do. And yeah, appreciate getting this, of course. The red beard is in it this time, though, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Like I said, rock star. Too busy to go back and do the homework. Homework's for nerds, not cool guys.
Nerd.
Jackass.
I like how you popped in like as if he was actually there, Nick. That was pretty funny. that was good.
All right. So let's go over to my personal history, which is first time I ever had this beer, and I need to bring up my own video here to plug my own channel, of course, considering this is my channel. First time I ever had it was courtesy of Mr. Heistelmighty. He got it. Did I write down where he got it? No, I didn't.
Is that the fuzz?
No, it's Heistelmighty. I just said that. Anyway, so review number 354. I had it way back in I think the time I recorded it was like spring of 2012. So it's been a long time. I also untapped it a few times, and I've tapped different years of this stuff. It's not a beer that I can regularly get here, but if I can find a bottle, I'll usually pick up a bottle of it because it's nice.
That is some mutant looking head in that picture. Jesus, I like it.
We did get it here once upon a time, and I'm seeing if I can find the photo. Frack. Yeah, here we go. I took this picture of it a couple of years ago when I was really, really getting into taking cool ass beer pictures, and I think I spent like half an hour trying to get that photo just right. Still doesn't look 100% perfect, but man, is that detailed. All right, nice looking picture of beer. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, Duvel, I've had it a few times. I really like it. I'm glad we finally get a chance to actually do a beer analysis on this thing. I picked my bottle up. I think I got this at the ANBL Experience store up in Moncton, and Redbeard also sent me a bottle. So I'm drinking the one in my NB liquor, which I think is actually a year older than everybody else's. I think everybody else's bottles from the best before date says 2021, and mine says 2020. So I'm actually drinking this beer just in time, actually, because it's January 2020. Oh, my. Ooh. And while I'm talking about it, I'm going to crack this one open here momentarily, too, which is a bottle that's a couple years old. I think it's like 5-year-old bottle. That'll be a masterclass in why you shouldn't age this beer. But let's continue on. We actually have 5 viewers right now. Ashley Sexton just asked, what is everyone drinking? So if anybody wants to chime up with some comments, go right ahead.
I'm having a Duvel.
In the meantime, we'll let Greg talk.
I'm having a Duvel.
Robert Duval?
Robert Duval.
Yes, I'm having Robert Duval right now.
Devouring this Duvel.
Devour. Oh, God, this is going to be a mess. I just know.
Hold it up so we can all see it explode.
Fuck no.
Let's see. Let's see your mess.
Was is everyone drinking? That's not proper grammar.
Oh,
Get him,
shut up.
Redbeard.
Hey,
Lee's in here
Wow.
drinking a Propeller double IPA.
right on.
Hi, Lee.
Hi, Lee.
Even though actually
Rockstar.
Lee's supposed to be drinking a Duvel right now in the review with us, kind of. Like he's ruining the immersion.
So there's
Just kidding.
the-
Cheers, Lee.
How was the hiss on that, Nick, when you opened it?
Not much actually. I was surprised it didn't like foam over with gross.
Oh, that's not good though.
That's the other thing that could be going wrong, is that maybe this is going to be
Gonna be an
oxidized to fuck, because
There's no CO2
well, there's
pushing out.
quite a bit of head, and it's nicely clear. Doesn't smell perfect.
Did you pour it right? Did you leave the dregs in there?
Yeah, you got to get some dregs in there.
That's not bad. I tried drinking one of these old bottles that I got a year ago, and it was oxidized to fuck. But I guess this could be your mileage may vary. This one's not bad. It's definitely not as good as the fresh stuff.
How's the color variation between the two?
That's
Yeah, you can see a little bit more age on the left.
Yeah, this one's definitely clearer.
Yeah.
This is like a little bit more golden, the old one.
Yeah.
This one definitely, there's no pepper at all left in this, pretty much. Just very light.
This beer
and
being good
effervescent.
to age a year or so, but I don't think more than that would.
Yeah, like I was saying, like the crown, especially with a crown cap, you don't really want to age something like this too long, because it'll oxidize. Anyway, so yeah, it's a stupid long story. I think I missed something.
About why he's in the chat but not on the panel.
Ah, okay. Hiding from the internet.
Quite possibly so. You never know.
Anyway, well, we're still deciding.
Bullied.
While we're still deciding what we think about this beer, Craig, how you doing lately, buddy? Hardly ever get to talk to you anymore.
Yeah, not bad. Just same shit kind of thing.
There's a reason for that, Nick. He avoids you.
Rockstar.
Nah. I just wanted to. I want to come on. I like Belgian beers, so it's kind of like if I can get them, then I'll join or try and join. Yeah, just get the old holiday season out the way and sort of kind of nice quiet time of year now. Generally, that suits me.
Same shit, different year.
Yeah, right.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, just still got a load of beer to drink. Didn't go crazy over the Christmas and stuff, so don't need to buy anything for a while. He says.
She said.
Apart from Duvel. Well, yeah, she did. So,
Oh, you got the dry January, the mandate handed down like what Matt had.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
apparently.
wasn't handed, mandated, or Jesus.
Anyway,
Who's dating men?
hallelujah. It's raining Duvel.
Hallelujah, it's dating, man.
All right. So, I guess I really haven't had a lot of time to think about what I think about either of these two beers. But if we want to get down to our final thoughts, let's go right ahead.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll need to really bother ourselves with asking Redbeard how much he thinks about this thing. Although he might like it, because it is a nice, a bit different than your typical Belgian beer, I guess.
He's gonna.
I
lose
have
that.
I have no problem with this. It's
creeps up on
it's
you.
not it's not something I would really seek out. I don't love it, but I got no problem with it at all. It's kind of a nice. I don't know, just the yeast, the kind of Belgian yeasty flavor that usually turns me off is there, but it's balanced out really nicely with everything else. It's really sweet. You can kind of really taste the glucose syrup, whatever the crap they put in there. And yeah, it's just there's not really any hint of the high ABV-ness in it. For the style, I'm going to give that I give that a 9 for the style, and my personal enjoyment, I go 7.5.
Nice.
I'm surprised.
All right. Let's go over to Ashley.
Hi.
Hi,
Hi.
Ashley.
Hello. I have
Yeah,
a beer.
I'm actually I'm really enjoying this beer. And I after doing that advent calendar, and actually, because I mean Belgian styles, we have Ontario craft breweries that do it. They generally don't do it very well. So at the LCBO, we just get a few imports. So we don't really get overexposed to Belgian beers and beers from Belgian breweries around here all that often. So it's always a nice treat when you do. And I had a bunch of them over the holiday season, and I developed a nice fondness and appreciation of it. And I just like how a lot of these Belgian beers, they bring a few more layers of flavor to the overall beer, which I appreciate. So I actually got some proper notes here. So on the aroma, I'm getting like your typical grass and hay, but I'm also getting a strong light pepper, touch of leather, and also on the back of the aroma, there's like a sort of a gentle sweetness that I'd sort of attribute to like a strawberry or something like that. The sip, well, overall, it's like a lot of these higher ABV Belgian style beers. It's got a remarkably light body to it. It's not heavy or syrupy or anything like that, just despite the ABV. So it's got a very, very active carbonation, as you guys have all seen. But I guess, I don't have it in a proper glassware, but, the open chalice like this, everything sort of dissipates pretty quickly. But overall on the sip, I got this weird, flavor of, rose water, sort of like a very floral type note, which sort of took me back a little bit. Got a touch of bubble gum, but the finish when it was cold was very earthy and very hot, aggressive hot bitterness. But as it warmed up, the finish sort of softened a little bit, became a little bit sweeter. And the hot bitterness sort of rounded out a little bit. So I think this is definitely a beer that's a little bit better enjoyed as it warms up, rather than, when I first started, it was like 20 minutes out of the fridge. No alcohol, no whatsoever. You would know that it's 8 point whatever it is. It is a touch decarbonated, but even that, I found it is dissipated as it's warmed up. And as the carbonations, let go, it's pretty easy to drink. So, so you know what? All around, for personal and for style, I'm going to give it a. I guess to explain my score, if I were to go a little bit more on this, I would have preferred that the bitterness, like the finish, wasn't a little bit harsh when it was a little cool. Maybe a little bit more bubblegum, a little bit more sweetness to it. So I'm going to give it 8.5 all around, for personal preference and for style.
Wow. See, I think that's the problem with you going too soon tonight, is that we all have to somehow follow that up.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I'm very happy that I got to go pre-Ashley tonight.
All right, speaking of going too early, let's go, Greg.
Oh, are we doing a beer review? Hello, everyone.
Your brother.
Okay, I wasn't listening to Ashley, so I can't just copy his review. To me, it's a clean Belgian ale. It's not particularly flavorful, which I kind of wish it was. Maybe I'm wishing a little too much from I get all these mixed up. I'm probably hoping this was a Tripel and it's just a Belgian Golden, so that type of stuff. So it's clean. It's yeasty. It's a good beer. There's nothing offensive about it. I'm not particularly excited by it either. So I don't know. I'm gonna say for a golden ale, which I don't particularly find as an exciting style, it's an 8. It's an 8. I probably have had better. I don't know, but it's 8's good. And personal enjoyment, it's a 7.5. I'm enjoying it, but I would have no real urge to run out and get this again. So it's solid beer. It's not a bad beer, but it's not an exciting beer for me. And now it's gone.
What are your scores?
He already gave his scores. He's 8 and 7.5.
Oh, I really wasn't paying attention.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. Usually that happens when he breaks talks.
Sorry, I was looking at the group chat.
God. All right. So, Mr. Craig, what's your thoughts, sir?
This is although you're not getting alcohol in this, but I'd say it's more of a kind of that Belgian-esque thing it's kind of, although it's fairly light compared to a lot of other Belgian blonde ales, I think this is a really decent one. Because I'm not, like Greg said, I'm not a lover of blonde ales at all. But more of a preference between for Belgian blondes and just the average normal blonde ales. It has got hints of alcohol, I'd say, on this bottle, but it's not. I have had others before where they have been quite, wow, that's potent kind of ABV presence in the beer. It's very sweet, as we pretty much all said. It's got that kind of Belgian yeasty kind of thing that goes with that, and it's also got this kind of slightly kind of oily, grassy kind of hot presence as well. If you're not used to Belgian, you've not had Belgian beers before or anything like that, this would probably be an interesting one to get a kind of what your take would be on it if you've not had one before. It could be too strong. Of course, a lot of people are put off by the ABV. If it's not a 4.5% lager, then it's like, oh, how can it be that strong? It's so strong. It's like, well, once you go dive more into the old Belgian beers, then you realise this isn't too bad, really. So, it's got that kind of bubblegummy element to it, I'd say. A nice kind of, it's very, I'd say very kind of floral, I'd say. There's, I think Ashley mentioned rosewater or something like that. It's got that kind of rose bed kind of elephant. That's a good one. Element.
Maybe you're thinking of delirium.
There's an elephant in the room. Yeah, that's right. So, I'm delirious. But no, it's a great beer. Yeah, this one's fine. I've had better, to be honest, but it does vary for me in score quite a bit. I'm putting this at so what would it be? A 3.75 on tap scale for both style and enjoyment in this bottle. So what's that?
7.5s, I think, all around.
Yeah. For me, this is where this beer is at.
Nice.
But yeah, still enjoyable. And the £2 a bottle here in the UK, in the regular supermarket, it's not bad.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you picked up on that floral element like I did, because I thought I was a little crazy, but
yeah, it's it's very pleasant. I said that grassy. It kind of goes into that kind of that grassy hop element, that hop oil sort of thing.
Yeah,
sort of backing up the malts and stuff, the sweet malts and blah blah.
Yeah.
At the front end at least. So, but yeah, nice.
Cool. All right, let's go over to Mr. the Man himself, the rock star. Want to be a rock star anyway. Let's play Lee's thoughts.
Yeah, my thoughts on this one. It's got those classic notes. It's got that Belgian yeastiness to it. It's got a little bit of that sort of slightly candy, slightly bubblegummy kind of esters in the background there, a little fruity. It's got some sort of white fruit notes to it coming out of that as well. And it's got a lot of kind of lemony, citrusy zest in there. It's very perfumey. It's not like sharp notes or anything like that. It's very perfumey, very nice. When you first pour it, the head, of course, is way bigger. Looks like a Hefeweizen when you pour it. But yeah, we'll get right to the taste here.
Proper glassware.
Straight up classic Belgian yeast. Of course, the recipe this is based on is a British beer, British bitter. I think it was Bass, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure you went through that in the actual history anyway. It's just very satisfying. The notes from the nose actually transfer pretty much perfectly to the taste. It's very simple, but the simple things it does very well. It's the sort of classic example of the Belgian golden pale ale, strong golden pale ale, whatever you want to call the style. Um, it's fantastic in that regard. It's not super complex, um, which doesn't necessarily dock any points for me. Maybe a couple, but it's not a big problem. Um, I do definitely like a little bit more complexity in some of these Belgian beers, but Duvel's sort of a class of its own anyway. So I'm all right with it being just what it is. Um, very, very good. It finishes dry and slightly peppery, and it makes you want to have another sip. It's a very dangerous beer.
Definitely.
It's just effortlessly drinkable uh, and fantastic. And man, it's no worse, probably no worse and no better than it's ever been. And I think it's a world class beer. Style wise, I'm giving it a perfect 10. So there.
Right.
My overall preference, I'm going to go 9.5. That's where I'm going to sit it at. Could use maybe a little bit more going on, just a teeny bit more. Like, I personally think Orval, which is somewhat similar to this, but it's also kind of its own style in a way. But it's kind of the one I think of when I think of this. Other Belgian beers put together. It's like Orval, Duvel, and then everything else. And Orval's just slightly better for me. That would be like 10 across the board. Yeah, 10 and 9.5. And thanks. And we'll see you guys later.
All
Have a
right.
good night.
Cheers, Lee.
Cheers, Lee. All right. Yeah, so I'm gonna have a hard time following this shit up because you guys were pretty damn fucking good tonight. Yeah, my thoughts on I've actually had the opportunity, as people already know, to drink 2 of these. So I'll be giving thoughts. I'm only going to count the ratings for the fresher one, which I think is a 2018 bottle, not for the 2015 bottle that I'm drinking here, which is well past its best before date, as I mentioned before. On the fresh one, I'm getting like my nose is stuffed up, so I'm having a hard time kind of smelling this thing. But I'm getting this floral, bready, bit of a barnyard funk coming off the top of that. I think Ashley had called it hay, which he's probably right. The flavor is like this grassy, peppery, big peppery note on it. You get white grape and maybe a bit of like stone fruits going on in there, like these nice light fruits. Lee called it white fruit, which whatever that is. I do notice what he's talking about when he says Orval, because I do get that like almost like Brettanomyces kind of like sour tannic, like the skin of a grape or something kind of bitterness out of this thing, which is actually really nice and makes it really crisp. It's got a very light body, especially for something that's 8.5 motherfucking percent. That is insane that how drinkable this thing is, considering the percentages. And I get it; it's definitely a little devil. The carbonation on it is it's very effervescent, but it's not so bad that it's making you burp all the time like some champagne style like that brut IPAs or some crap. What I do notice is that despite being that strong, no booze, can't even tell it's that strong. It strings like a 4% beer. The 5-year-old aged one doesn't age that well. So whoever's got like 5 of them sitting in their cellar like I do, don't let them sit there for 5 years like I did. So the pepper is gone. I mean, there's almost no pepper at all in here. There's no hop notes at all. Like this one here came off as like a little bit of like earthy resiny in the back, whereas this one here, it's pretty much just all fruit. And it's got this weird, like I aged this beer too long kind of funk to it, but it's not bad. Like it's super drinkable still. It's bready, it's yeasty, it's got the more a sweeter grape and apricot note that pokes up through this thing. It's smoothed out to fuck too, so it's really part of the aging aspect has worked, but it also comes out as like a very, very, very drying in the back of the mouth beer. Like I think this is drier than this shit is, even though this one is pretty dry itself.
It's probably
So I'm, yeah,
sorry, go
but that's fine. I was just gonna say, like, aged, not really worth aging, but this stuff is the bomb, and I really like this beer. As far as the style of a strong Belgian Golden Ale, this is pretty much the archetype of the style. This is what all those beers really pretend to be. Lee's right where there's not like a whole lot complex going on, but I think that's just fine for exactly what this is. That's what it's supposed to be. 9 for overall for style, 9 for style, and 8.5 for overall opinion. All right, so I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Sexton for a second to read the comments because I noticed that Lee's in the chat again.
Well, yeah, so we left off where Lee said, yeah, it's a stupid long story, and I said, well, we got all night. And then Red said he's glad he got to go before myself. Eric Gilbert's in the chat. Cheers, fools. I'm
Cheers,
glad
Eric.
to hear that Eric made it through the fake nuclear explosion on that part in
Wow,
Pickering. You're lucky to be around. Yeah, totally lucky to be alive.
Lucky to be alive.
Lucky to be arrive.
That's racist.
Shut up.
We did our best to scrub him from the history books, but it didn't work. Lee Russell, that second to last guy was brilliant. Yes, he was. And
Right.
Eric,
Was he talking about me?
yes, 100% he was talking.
Oh, thank God! I'm so glad I got his endorsement.
And then Eric agreed that it's a great fucking beer. So there we go.
It is a beer.
One of the more enjoyable Belgian ones I've had, for sure.
Yeah, you usually hate the fucking Belgian stuff, so
I
Let's
wish,
go
I
to
wish I had another,
Stardust City.
I
I
should have bought
actually
another
feel
couple
that
of
this is actually a good beer to introduce people to Belgian beers that maybe don't like them or aren't used to
Like
them
Red
because
Beard?
it's
Actually,
tasty,
when-
but it sort of plays it safe. It's not particularly like
Yeah.
crazy.
When Ashley mentioned there aren't a lot of like breweries doing Belgian ones, then he just said Sawdust City. I was going to say Sawdust City actually does do a fair number of different Belgian ones, and I feel they're one of the Ontario ones that actually do the style justice kind of thing, in my opinion, anyway.
I reckon,
oh, like Princess Wears Girl Pants or something.
They've got a few
I
different
reckon-
ones they make.
Sorry,
you get a lot. You get a right mixed reaction. I think we introduce people to this. I think it'd be quite interesting.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
But then
I think it could be too strong for some people, and other people are like, "Wow, this is amazing." It's one of them, isn't it? It's, depends what their tolerance level's at.
yeah,
They might say it's too big. I mean, they'd be scared by the ABV straight away. So
I wish I had a delirium like today as well to compare against. Because I think like style wise they're supposed to be the identical style. I think the percentage points off by 1 or so, but I do remember enjoying Delirium Tremens so much, and I think if I'm not mistaken, it was like because it really had a really strong bubblegum note to it. But I could be wrong. But
I'll take a look, see if I can find the scores for Delirium. I don't think I have them.
I completely forget to mention the white pepper and stuff.
yeah,
When I was
Yeah.
banging on about it, but I mean, actually to the point where it made me sneeze, which is quite funny.
I saw you explode when you muted your mic.
So it's like, yeah, that's that kind of light spiciness thing going, which is quite obvious.
But the thing is,
Yeah, I wish I had another couple of. I should have bought more than one. For some reason,
Yeah.
I didn't. You start, we drink one, you think, oh, I fancy another one. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I'm feeling the exact same thing right now, and all I have are fucking pilsners now in my fridge.
Yeah, yeah. That's you shit out there. That's pretty good.
That's a good score.
Yeah, that's a healthy score for something like this. I find the Belgian stuff tends to score well. I could have sworn, like when Redbeard, when you did like the likes of Rochefort or something like that, you liked it a whole lot better than a lot of the Belgian stuff that you did.
Yeah, you never know.
It's more like the lighter Belgian things you hate. I don't know. I think that's a pretty decent score. Duvel scored pretty well in this thing.
I think that's fair.
Anyway, yeah. I can't remember what we scored Delirium Tremens, but I know we did it on beer analysis. Like, when do we do it on beer analysis?
That was like a year and a half ago. It was a long time.
Yeah, it was a while back. Quite a while back.
That was back when you guys still thought I was a female.
Probably.
I still think you're a female.
I'm the bearded lady, you know.
Listen, they don't call you the head brewer for nothing.
Yeah. Oh God, that's so gross.
Well, you were on that chat there.
Yeah, I know. It was one of my first ones though.
Yeah,
I'm
January.
over my next beer.
It was a year ago.
Was it a year ago?
No, January 23rd, 2019.
Oh, okay. I've been on a few more than that.
There you go.
That's funny though.
Anyway. So, looking at Lee asked the magic question. I actually haven't really put a whole lot of thought into what we are going to do for next week's beer, because
fucking just
this week's beer was supposed to be next week's beer. And so, what are you saying, Ash?
just fucking do whatever the hell you want, man. Go crazy.
No, is anybody up for doing? We should be doing these once a month, maybe. But who's up for bring your own beer to next week?
Well,
I'm down.
I mean,
It's a new month. Why not?
I'm just gonna
I'm
throw it
down.
out there.
I'm down.
If I can get Kerry the Westmalle, he'll have it by next Wednesday. I'm going tomorrow to 15 minutes out of my way to get it for him, so he will have it by next Wednesday.
Okay, so in that case, do you want to do Westmalle next week? I mean, Craig, you can get to Westmalle, can't you?
I've never had Westmalle, so I don't know if I want to do it or not. But
Probably.
Well, here's the thing. He would have to go tomorrow, get it, and ship it just to make sure.
yeah, I'm gonna ship it either tomorrow or Friday. It's gonna go express post, so that's 2 days to Redbeard. So he'll have it by like Tuesday, at the worst.
But what if they get scared away by his compound?
Well, that's true. It might get lost in the mail. So if you want,
Anything Greg sends me gets shipped to my mom's house. It's fine.
Okay, good.
So as long as you're on good terms with your mom,
Quite.
like Greg is.
I'm on very good terms with my mom.
I love my mom.
She's gonna buy me rum from
I
Cuba.
was talking about Redbeard's mom.
Oh.
Oh,
I think
wow.
Greg's met my mom.
Is it really?
I don't believe I've met your mom.
No, I don't think he has.
Okay,
I've been to your mom's house, but
so Nick, let's just
Yeah,
do
that's
this.
actually true.
So we'll say Westmalle. However, if Westmalle falls through, because we don't trust Greg anyways,
No, I wouldn't trust Greg.
it is a bring your own beer. But what's
okay.
a style or a theme or?
Well, we could do like.
I'd say a style would be cool.
Yeah, I was thinking like. Well, maybe that terrible joke I made earlier about dry January, make it brewed IPAs or something.
Fuck, no, I'm not doing
Okay, what would be a good style to do for a beer?
those.
Brainstorm here. What do we think? What would be a good style
Well,
to do?
have we done?
I actually kind of like the idea you just did. I'd be down for a
Okay,
good idea.
Greg, I want to
Passion.
hear your thoughts, and that's the first time that's ever been asked.
No, I was gonna say, have we done a porter yet?
Hey, that'd be a good idea. Do like bring your favorite porter.
Yeah, I'm down with the porter.
All right.
Wow, Nick actually likes my idea. Yay!
That's
right.
a good one.
Yeah.
Damn it, I
So
get
now he's
another one of
gonna
those collective arts
intentionally
ones. Shit. I think they're sold out here in town, those collective arts bourbon barrel
The
aged ones.
Imperial Porter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One's fucking delicious.
I'm gonna have to keep an eye out and see if I can find some kind of porter around here. I know I can get Fuller's.
Collective Arts Imperial Pour is lush. It really is.
I don't know if you've had you might have had the I think you've just had the one of the can. Have you had the bourbon barrel aged one, Craig?
No, just a straight Imperial.
Yeah.
Pour.
The Imperial one's
Yeah, that's-
really good, but the bourbon barrel aged one is like it
Yeah,
really does kick it up to another level. Damn good.
I've not seen that over here, but yeah.
15
But I've
bucks a
actually,
bottle here. I can't even imagine what you pay over there, but it gets shipped to you.
I just remembered I have a bottle of Cameron's Obsidian left.
How old is that?
Oh, old.
Jesus Christ.
It'll be 2015 anyway.
My God. One funny note before we go to the after chat. The Duvel that you bought, Craig, was the exact same price as the one that we purchased in Ontario.
Yeah, so that's £2. I know you done your research.
Yeah, £2 for you, which was $3.40 for us in Ontario. Which probably for you, Nick, if it was in your area, it'd probably be like $5.
Yeah, there is. Funny enough, I had a look earlier online. There was a cheaper place, but what the hey? It's just it's a 10-minute walk. You know, I actually, I was on kind of Greg walk times. You know, trying to go and get a beer for this, so that's not bad, is it? Really? So
Yeah, not at all. I think bang for your buck. I find for the LCBO, all of the imports that we get really good bang for our buck. So I think we're spoiled.
yeah. Well, it's good. It's good.
All right. So next week's beer is West Mall Double or bring your own beer. So it all depends on whether or not Greg can get that beer to carry in time.
Oh, Carrie will get it eventually.
Yeah, and you're gonna fake him not getting it because then we'll do the beer now. The bring your own beer idea you came up with.
Oh, fucking
I
hiccup
need a
time.
burp. Yeah, no,
No,
I
it's still
I
you
got
don't
gas
do-
coming up at the same time from all this carbonated beer. Yeah. All right, who wants to read the last couple of comments?
No, it's that's just me going back and forth with Eric trying to figure out which fucking beer he's drinking.
He's drinking Welly Imperial.
Yeah, the Welly Imperial. I thought maybe he was drinking one of those variants that came in the 4-packs. Sorry, like the UVB ones. That's what they were called. Anyway,
That was a pretty good 4-pack.
it was a fucking stellar 4-pack.
By the way, the Wellington Russian Imperial Stout did show up here, so that could be a potential BA 101 at some point.
I have one in my fridge.
Yeah. All right. I reviewed it years ago, but it's definitely much improved. But that is a conversation we can have on the after chat, which we'll come to momentarily. So thanks for watching. Hello there. Good day, mate.
Jesus Christ.
All right. Hey, it finally rained in Australia. So
Yay! Save those balls.
Yep. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming on, Redbeard, Ashley, Craig, especially Craig and Greg.
Thanks for having me.
And
in all seriousness, donate to some Australian charities, you cheap bastard. These fires are a big deal.
There. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for Eric, Liebert, and Lee for popping in on the chat, and somebody else if I missed them. Thanks for watching. Talk to you folks a bit. We'll be out shortly.
Peace out.
Peace.
Yeah. Keep the peace.